Welcome back to File New. My name is Ryan Selvy, and today we've got the best designer news, the creator news, the artist news that you need to stay up to date with the ever changing world of design and art and just being a creator online. We've got an update to the Starburst brand. It's a cute one. It's fun. We'll go into it. We also have some updates on some tips for designers. We have some Premiere mobile updates from Adobe. We have some other Adobe updates with Express and Premiere. We also have updates for a bunch of stuff. We have font of the week. We have a bunch of things for you to hop into. Hello to everyone that's in the chat. We're live, but if you're watching this as a replay, I promise to make it worth your while. We are here for about 55 minutes or so, and we got a lot to get through. If you have any questions on the links that we have, it is linked in the chat for you, and it'll also be linked in the description. And we're here for a good time, not for a long time. Let's get into the news. Starting off strong, we're going to talk a little bit about the schedule this week for Adobe Live. This is a show that's on Adobe Live. It's brought to you on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. If you're on the Pacific side, it is 1 o'clock for us on the Eastern side. Hello from Brooklyn. And we are about halfway through our week now. Next up after this, we're actually going to be switching over to Twitch for Design Sprint, a sports design show by Steven Overturf. And we also have Edit Like a Pro, which is the girls from CA and LA, and they have a editing stream for you all about video editing and how to make really good movies and film, because they are film creators and they're also musicians. Tomorrow is a full day of in-studio content with Nick Longo and Andrew Hockrottle. We also have Eric Villalobos and Arabella Espinoza. And then on Friday, there's even some content at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., which has both a Premiere Pro team and also has the education team popping in to give you some stuff. If you missed any of the earlier content, either on the Twitch or YouTube, you can check out the replays on their corresponding sites. On the Discord, you can see that there was a really good stream from Maddie for Virtual Plein Air, which is the one that is on 11 a.m. on Mondays. And she has people work alongside her as she paints a painting of a object or a scene that she picks from, the chat actually picks from the options that she gives, and then she works along and tells you how to paint them. There are some awesome clips that are clipped out from Jack as well. And you can see that she's like working on something that people were able to work through. This one is the image that she worked with. Yours truly also painted one. I did like a thumbnail painting, which is when I like really made it like super, super teeny tiny. And then at the last like 10 minutes, I zoomed into details. Mapers also did a really good submission. There was also a submission with oil painting, which is really cool. So it's all skill types, all mediums, all types of people. And that's just one of the many shows that you can get. Make sure you also hop into the Discord, which is linked in the description, where you can talk with all the other shows. You can talk with show creators, and you can also just generally talk with the community as you hop into the work week and hop in between shows. Next up, we have let's go right into some Adobe news. You can see this is coming from a Discord. It's coming from the Adobe Express Discord. There have been some Express updates that they're excited to highlight. There are now some web page updates, like you can download as a PDF. You can download entire web pages as PDFs with timestamps and accessibility tags. You can apply brand themes in one click. We've actually done a few streams about this, where you can grab a template, and then as long as you have the font, you have the colors, you have logos, you can just say apply my brand, and it will reapply everything in that template and make it look like your brand. So that way it doesn't feel like the same template between every single person that uses Express. It feels unique and specific to your brand, and then you're able to adjust it from there to be able to then go and make any modifications that you want. There's new animations, which are really easy, especially if you don't want to hop into After Effects or another program to animate a post. There's Breeze, which can show you how it's shifting with the wind, while Circle and Barn Door add motion to how design assets more enter and exit the canvas for more transitions on and off. You can make more templates. You can have view-only links if you want to share things with client. That way they don't messing things up. Password-protected documents, especially if you're working with like NDA content or content that isn't public yet. And then also there's a new Sprout Social add-on. If you use Sprout, it's a really good social media content manager, and you can optimize it for future posts, and you can use the Sprout Social add-on specifically for Express. So I went ahead, I linked the Facebook post about this into it. If you are interested in joining that community, they have a really good Facebook group. And Penny is saying, I tried Breeze and I think it's trippy. Yeah, I can even actually, if you guys want to, on the Discord that I pulled this from, I can actually hop in and grab a video that they use to show how it looks. This was actually done by Erin, and she creates some really cool stuff for the community. Get ready for this. Ooh. And barn door. And get ready for it. Here's the Breeze. And Breeze is nice because Breeze just gives you like just a subtle little animation and make it feel alive. And so they're very easy to set and add to any object that you want to select. You just go in, you click the object, and then from there you're able to then apply any animation, and you can save it out as a video or you have it. Before we hop into our more Adobe news, I do want to take a second to say hi to people who are here live. Like I said, if you're watching this as a replay, I promise to make it worth your while. But hello to Bree and Virgil, Steven and Rick, Drew, Evan. Thank you guys for being here. Winter as well. Jacob, Penny, Reverb, Mike, Frank, Peter. Thank you guys all for being here. If you have questions, comments about the stories as we hop into them, if you have suggestions for stories, please go ahead and throw them into the chat. Our next story is Photoshop news. It's one that I actually was streaming a little bit about on Monday. It's Photoshop Beta expands generative fill with more AI models and more possibilities. Everyone's really talking about Nano Banana. It is a new model that is coming from the folks that do Gemini for Google, and it uses action words and descriptive text to be able to do things like completely change the background of like a picture or a model, but also it's really good for storyboarding, is what we went over when we were working on it on Monday. Is like if you have a picture of a guy that's this way and you want to turn his head the other direction, you're able to just switch in the partner model straight within Photoshop directly, and you're able to say turn the side, and then I think you can then take those aspects, you can put it into a storyboard, and then when you go out to bring it to the client, you can get right off before you go and you then shoot the real thing on the street. But then you have kind of the flexibility and the options to be able to update it. We also looked at ways that you're able to use it if you are remodeling your home or you want to check out different painting for a specific room and you want to change the colors of the walls. That's a really good use case of it. If you take a picture of your room and you say change the walls to this specific hex code, and then you can be like, I want to see what my walls would look like if they were, I don't know, what's this hex code? This blue. If they were 849BE1, and then you can click it and it instantly can change it to be that color painted walls. And then you can bring it to your husband and you can say, look, I promise it'll be good. I promise it'll be awesome. Look at how nice it looks. Thank you, Google Gemini. Thank you, Nano Banana. Thank you, Photoshop. And then the last piece of Adobe news that we have for you before we hop into other news is Adobe Premiere Pro launched on iPhone, and this is bringing pro quality video editing to creators. There is sound effects built into this, so I don't know if you guys saw the functionality earlier where you can go and you can be like boom boom bap, and then you can say turn that into sounding like a motorcycle, and it will take that audio and then take your inflection and your cadence of how you are saying boom boom bap, and it will then transform that into motorcycle sounds that you can then natively put right on top of your video, which is really cool. The functionalities and everything that's added onto it is linked in our wonderful Adobe blog, which is linked in the raindrop. You can see that there are a bunch of people using it. I mean, like Cleo Abram, which I don't know if you guys have watched her stuff. She has really cool science videos on YouTube. And it just goes through on how people are using it. it says that, you can edit at speed of inspiration with fast, responsive performance built natively into iOS. This is a vast performance update now that iPhones are a lot stronger. You're able to use them and work on their processing power, whereas opposed to before they had like Apple Silicon, they were fast, but there were some things that it had to load and your phone would heat up. Now they're really leveraging the new phones, being able to adjust content on the fly in full real time. And this is a big upgrade from Premiere Rush. So if you used Premiere Rush in the past, give it a new checkout. It is just called Premiere on iPhone, and you can download it worldwide on the App Store. You can check out more information about it at blog.adobe.com. You can also get to that link from the Raindrop if you don't want to type into the thing and you just want to click on stuff. Evan is saying he remembers using much less sophisticated in painting to paint the shower renovation and wasn't impressed. I'm sure it's come a long way. Yeah, in the past, I've also used Photoshop to just like highlight the walls and then use the hue slider, which isn't quite the same, but was a lot of work for minimal kind of payoff. And so now it's kind of nice to have new tools to be able to quickly and effectively switch things out. And also, Rick is saying that Nano Banana is even good at creating text, which is unlike other LLMs, which I feel like that happens a lot. You get the finger test, you get the spaghetti test, you get the text test, and there are things that are just vastly improving. And then, like I said, especially if you're doing things like storyboards or you're just kind of mocking up a piece, it's a really good way to be able to focus on it. As we like to always focus on, Firefly model generations are creatively licensed, so you can go and you can use that work without worrying about accidentally plagiarizing. Whereas with these other models, I'm not saying you're plagiarizing, but they don't have those built-in protections where they aren't built to be entirely creatively accessible. So just keep that in mind when you're using them. It's a weird new frontier, and you don't want to use things that aren't supposed to be used in commercial products. So something to be remembered. Hopping over to other AI companies, just keeping a quick talk on the changing of the landscape. Meta recently announced an AI feed. This is something that was interestingly received, and this is coming to us from uxnews.com. They introduced a new space for experimenting with AI-generated short videos. This is them partnering with Midjourney and Black Forest Labs. They are working on their own models as well, but this is one that's kind of really focusing on it. It is this new app where everything in the app is all AI-generated and all AI-created content. It is an interesting approach. It's then, I guess, over time supposed to become more similar to things that you would create in your own feed, but it's nice that it's kind of separate from Instagram and separate from its own thing. It's called Vibes, and you can browse and create short AI-generated videos. It says it is designed as a space for creative experimentation and inspiration. The feed will feature clips both from creators and the community, gradually becoming more personalized. I've not downloaded it. These are images sourced from Meta. I guess this little cat with some cucumber eyes. Which, like, bring me there, though. I would hang out with that cat. Rick says, yeah, Will Smith eating spaghetti. That was the test for the longest time. I haven't seen it in a while. Penny is saying, Meta, you wild. Yes, that was quite a response for a lot of it. It said, despite the ambitions, users' reaction has been skeptical. Comments under Zuckerberg's post include, nobody wants this and what? Contrast with Meta's earlier calls to fight unoriginal content and focus on authentic storytelling. Drew is saying too much fun. Steven is saying we all need a pet who lays out by the pool with us. Yeah, right? If anyone can find me a cat, I mean, I have my cat right here that is laying on my chair. I'm doing a standing stream, as you know. But if anyone can find me this cat, I'll adopt it. Also give me a pool, We'll go from there. And our next story is also an AI story. Sorry for those of you that hate AI news. I promise the whole show is not all AI. I'd just like to touch on some of the stuff because it is important to know as a landscape that is changing. This is a new announcement coming from OpenAI, the people who create ChatGPT. They are experimenting with a new option called Pulse. This is only for the pro users. Those are the people that pay $200 a month. and they're trying to find ways to have efficiency with it before they roll it out to other users. And this is a way that every morning ChatGPT comes up with a pulse briefing to give about like 5 to 10 stories about the user's interest before then saying it's the end of the day. The one thing that I thought was really interesting here, and this is reporting on from Maxwell Zeff at TechCrunch, is that it's going to be scanning your use and things that you provide to then be able to find out what you're interested in to kind of give you updates. It could be sports teams, it could be entertainment content, it could be news. But the thing that I thought was really interesting is their focus on sticking to 5 to 10 articles or pieces of content that they send to you in these cards forms. And their inspiration or their motive, they said, was they don't want to kind of have the endless doom scroll or endless scroll of trying to keep you hooked with stuff that they are bringing to the table. And they just want to give you a small selection of stuff, of curation, and then kind of be like, that's all for today. See you tomorrow if you want more, which I think is admirable from the idea of not being hooked to our phones all the time. It is nice to have things where it's like you get to the bottom of the feed and you've kind of completed it, kind of like, you know, you close a magazine, you close a newspaper. You don't really see that in digital forms, so it's interesting to see. But I'm actually going to even start a poll in the YouTube chat before we get to Font of the Week that said, would you use an AI morning update? And then we'll do yes or no. I'm going to throw that in. So if you're over on Behance, make sure you hop over to YouTube and you vote on it. I'd love to hear what you guys would do. I'm skeptical just because of hallucinations and stuff, but at the same time, it might be something that then guides me towards then checking it out on my own to say like, oh, this is update that I'm interested in learning more information about, then maybe I'll Google it or something. Jacob says, I don't know if I'm into that. Oliver says, no thanks. Jacob says, I rely on my friends for that. Eliminating the group chat. Oliver says, a small selection of stories chosen for you by the algorithm. I'll pass. Welcome, Kendall, to the chat. Thank you for being here. Penny is saying that I'm pretty sure my parents are going to get confused and stuck on Meta's vibes, thinking it's real. Yeah, I mean, that's always something that's going to be really important to tackle and address, is the idea of when we're looking at AI content and when we're looking at normal content. Speaking of regular normal content, Twitch is having an update where you can finally easily rewind streams. This is something that is not available to absolutely everyone. They are slowly rolling it out to make sure that people aren't using it to game the system and like ignore ads or something. But basically, when you're watching a Twitch stream right now, you could go back and you'd have to like open a video and then rewind or something. But sometimes when you're watching a Twitch stream, you want to see something that happened 20 seconds ago, and it's been really hard to be able to kind of scrub back. They are now, according to Jay Peters for The Verge, implementing a new feature that they're experimenting with that says that you can go and you can rewind a little bit to be able to then see what happened previously without having to leave the page and without having to hop out. This is also going to be available for Twitch Turbo subscribers and for channels that you're individually subscribing to. So if you're subscribing to Adobe or something, well, actually, no, because I don't think you can subscribe to Adobe, since subscription, I think, for Twitch is paid rather than follow. So it's ones that you're already like paying for, then you'll be able to rewind. But it's nice to be able to see that they are listening to the community and they want to update their service to be able to then reflect people being able to want to look back, even if it is a big focus on being live. Before we hop into Font of the Week, just because this was a really quick poll, I do want to hop right back to this previous story. And it looks like 70% of people are saying no, they would not use an AI morning update, with only 30% of you saying they would. But thanks for that interaction. We see that Evan is talking about Twitch and saying the ads currently force you to miss things live on Twitch. So it stinks, but being able to go back and you'd be able to then unmiss the things that you missed on while the ad was playing. So something to check out. Oliver's always saying the channel I subscribe to, not sure which. But yeah, hopefully it's something that becomes a little bit better as a user experience. That way you don't miss the content that you want to see. There's no ads during the stream for File New, though, which is your favorite stream. There is, though, every single week, the Font of the Week, and that's what we're going to do next. Guys, I still need to work on my transitions. I'm so tired of saying like up next or hop into or let's go to. I just like it comes naturally when I'm not streaming, and then as soon as I hit go live, it's my tongue just swells up, and I don't know. Thank you guys for dealing with it. I appreciate it. Font of the Week is the weekly segment that we do second of the show every single week, right after the news section, and we hop into Adobe fonts and we look at a bunch of typefaces, 3 to be exact, and we look at what their classing is. We look at what we would probably use them for. We look at their glyphs, and then we decide which one is the best of the 3. I went ahead and I put up the poll onto YouTube's poll, so make sure you go and get into the YouTube chat to vote for your favorite font, and in the next like 20 or 30 minutes we will determine which one is the font of the week. I tried to pick 3 relatively different ones. We have a very hard line, cornered, edgy one with kind of lower legibility for this first one. We have a round soft boy for the second one with alphabet soup, and then we have a cursive script font for the third one, which is Brooklyn Heritage. They're from 3 different typeface foundries, and I would love to tell you guys a little bit about each. The first one is Black Pack. It is designed by Juanjo Lopez from Hoy Fonts, which is HUYFONTS, Hoy Fonts. And this is yet another variable font. If you go to the Adobe Fonts page, you can see firsthand the different types of work that they have. We're going to go ahead and we're going to write out file new. They have both uppercase and lowercase. It's not one of the ones that all have just, all uppercases or not. That said, like the I looks like a lowercase even when it is fully created. For different legibility reasons, you can see that there's variance in both uppercase and lowercase. There's both condensed, there is narrow, there is black, there's extended. And these are all things that you can also individually adjust if you're looking for adjusting the width here, or if you're looking to adjust the weight. You can go super, super blocky where it's like almost a full square. And then you can also adjust with the stress, which is kind of messing with not necessarily the X height, but the adjustment of where you can see that kind of definition in each of the lines. I think that if you have a medium stress and it's kind of in the middle, I feel like the legibility goes up. And then as you go either higher all the way to 100 for stress or all the way down to 0 for stress, the legibility gets a little bit harder. There is 3 axes, 20 instances, and you can always use your custom settings. And this is all things that are also accessible within Photoshop itself. We're going to go on to our own document and change it from test 1 to file new. And from there, we can also explore the glyphs panel, which you guys know I love to do. And glyphs are available in every single typeface if you just go to Window and Glyphs. From there, you can see there are different things with accents on top of letters. We have fractions. We always ask if you can do your math homework. Sometimes there are division symbols. In this case, there are. There's, not equals, less than, greater than. There's also some currency signs, which is nice to see. No specific imagery outside of a little bit of ornament here for maybe the sides of a border or something, but they have your brackets and they have a variation of different letters and numbers. Clever is saying fun ones for our 3 selections here. Evan saying, let's go. The poll is neck and neck as we look at right now. Oh, it looks like we have actually a tie right now between the top 2. So make sure you hop onto YouTube and you give a vote. Rukala Core is just really exciting and punching that keyboard. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you get a little bit more excited. Rick is saying, I wonder if there's a type foundry called Elephants. I'm sure there probably is, right? If not, they should check it out. That was kind of like we were coming up with a sewing company the other day. It's like That'll Sew or That'll Sew, which would be a fun one to do, but I don't know how to sew. So. The amount of configurability on Black Pack is really cool, says Evan. I agree, which is really nice. And Jack is thinking that Alphabet Soup is really cute. So to please Jack, who we just streamed with right before this, let's hop into Alphabet Soup. And this is a great typeface that I like because it is so soft. And I like kind of the soft, rounded edged ones. This could definitely be used for both a header or for body copy, just because of its simple forms. It was designed by Steve Jackaman for the Red Rooster collection. It is pretty straightforward. Is a sans serif with rounded edges. We're going to go back into Photoshop, and I can show you guys what it looks like if I write out File New. This is one of the ones where even if I'm holding down like uppercase or lowercase, it's going to be the same. So you're not going to get that variance in being able to have lowercase objects that look like they're lowercase letters. Instead, like it's all going to be one. So maybe this wouldn't be the best for body copy in a huge bulk, just because it's going to look like absolutely everything is in caps no matter what. And they have the normal glyphs for you. They have some Greek letters, which is interesting, but they're kind of sharp, which is weird. They don't seem like they necessarily go along. They do have the pi symbol, and they have their rooster, which we've looked at their type foundry before. There's a few smaller numbers if you need the smaller numbers. So I'll show you guys what it looks like if I write 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can also go all the way down here. And if you wanted to have a little teeny tiny one, that's also available. I don't know if there's much more to say about this one. It's cute, right? It's just like, it's round, it's soft, it's nice. Penny's saying it's soup season. What's your favorite soup, Penny? I like French onion soup, and I'm waiting for a restaurant near me to bring that back because I get it every single time I go there, but they don't serve it during the winter during the summer because it's too hot. Alphabet soup is decent, but I feel like French onion soup is the absolute best. Then we have finally Brooklyn Heritage. Are you guys ready for Brooklyn Heritage? Coming to you live from Brooklyn. File New right here written out with this fun F. This has lowercase and uppercase, so you can clearly make a difference between them. If you do all caps, it doesn't necessarily look the best because they are worked into a way to be able to like have hierarchy that then switches. That said, you can always mess with the character spacing so that like the N here does connect to the E specifically, but even without it, it does really well. I think sometimes script fonts struggle with this, but this one I picked in particular because I liked how flexible it seemed it was able to handle being able to put letters next to each other without getting something weird like that. As long as you have like the letter spacing together, it feels like a continuous line, which is always a really good call out for any sort of script font. This is coming to us from My Creative Land. This is a Elena Genova typeface, and you can see that they have stylistic alternatives, they have initial and end forms, they have the script thin all the way up to script bold. And it says, it is the joyous result of what happens when a grotesque typeface design wakes up and decides to become a playful, swashy script instead. It has 500 plus glyphs included, supports most Western Europe languages, and is full of stylistic alternates that make the script even prettier. It is an exciting find for a designer looking for a great companion to evolve a customer's branding, collateral, website, book series, social media, mobile app, or magazine. So let's go look at those 500 plus glyphs. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom here, let's see the glyphs. The glyphs look pretty basic, though, I will say. If we're looking at it, I was expecting big things. I mean, it is nice they have the extra like curly whirlies that you can use, but when they said 500 glyphs, I was kind of excited about the idea of being able to have some images and things that we could adjust. And unfortunately, it does not look like that is the case. That said, still looks like you can probably do your math homework, and you have some flexibility here. Clever says, and I don't know if that is in reference to Kendall saying that she made French onion soup sourdough focaccia last year for her birthday, and it was so good. Next time, can you please send it over my way? Reverb Mike is saying that there is a kind of relation to Comic Sans with this alphabet soup, which I think I disagree with. Because if we look at Comic Sans here, I have a... No. That's way different. That's Comic Sans, and that's alphabet soup. Comic Sans, alphabet soup. No. I disagree. That is a wrong opinion. Thank you for including your opinion, but it is wrong. I'll let you guys vote on that for just a little bit. We're about halfway through. If you're just joining us, we went over some news with updates to Adobe programs and some AI updates, some Twitch updates, platform updates. We went over a schedule for Adobe Live, and then we hopped into Font of the Week, which you can still vote on over on YouTube. We will be declaring a winner and crowning the winner in just a little bit. But before we do that, we want to look at the new Starburst rebrand that I teased at the beginning of the show. I love the guys over at Brand New. They create really good updates on logos and rebrands and restyling, updates to brand language. This one's coming from Jay. It was reviewed specifically on Brand New. If you have a few bucks, I think it's like $2 a month or something like that, I definitely suggest you go and check it out because they do a full write-up. They do really good breakdowns of full packaging. They show befores and afters. They show expert understanding of typefaces and language and use case. So make sure you check out their website. Even if you don't pay for it, though, you can still see this, which is a nice way to just keep track of things that are being updated. They did include one breakdown of over time. They had Opal Fruits, apparently, when it first came out in 1959. And I guess in 1967, maybe M&M's bought them, I guess, and rebranded them in the U.S. as M&M's Fruit Chewies, which is really weird to think that you're eating M&M's and they are Starbursts. From there, it then got pretty close to what it ended up being, but the one that is most recent has been pretty much the Starburst little bursting bubble from 2007. They have since moved away from that and have kind of gotten rid of that weird amorphous blob that is looking like burst is then bursting. They have then kind of brought out and standardized the typeface so that the typeface isn't warped, and they then are focusing on the square, which is the function of Starburst, and they're using that square in different packaging. They're using the square in their logo, and they're really focusing on the idea that they have an iconic square candy shape while still focusing on kind of a very well-known similar typeface that goes all the way back to 1968. They updated the typeface to then be able to work across all of their products. I suggest you check them out. But overall, I think it is a strong flattening of a logo without going so far as to taking away all of its character. They still have this swoop on the S, which is iconic and also gives an idea of the juiciness that is Starburst, because they do have that fruity flavorness to it. But since they got rid of maybe like some of the curvature to like the U or the R or the S in the middle of the burst, it's like, I get it. We know what's going on. You don't need to tell me that it's bursting in order for it to burst. Tracy's saying that the new one is cute. Yeah, I think that it's a good glow up. I think it works well. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when you're doing a rebrand. Sometimes it just goes back to fine tuning it. And Reverb Mike is saying cubic. Although Wade is saying the shape is giving a cheese slice. Yeah, you want some American cheese? Have a Starburst American cheese. But he also says he sees it as well. Penny likes the new one. Kendall will eat a whole bag alone. What is your guys' favorite Starburst flavor? Because mine is apparently taboo. Everyone likes red. Red is my least favorite. For me, it goes yellow is the best, then pink, then orange, and then red. And don't get me wrong, I like all four, but I definitely like to eat all of the yellows and the pinks if I can. Tracy is also agreeing with Wade and saying that she also sees the Kraft cheese now. Hopefully your guys' Kraft cheese does not have red little squares on it. Wade thinks that the shape isn't needed, although I do suggest that you go check out some of the packaging because they really do lean into the square for it to also kind of like elevate it when they mess with the colors and stuff. Steven also says, I honestly don't think it needs a shape, just have a word mark. Tracy's saying pink and orange. Tracy's agreeing that red is the worst, which makes me excited. Wade's saying cheese flavored is his favorite Starburst, which I'm going to ban him for. Jacob's also saying yellow is objectively the best. But you guys are all killing it with saying that red is the worst. I feel like everyone I talk to always says that red is the best. So I'm excited to hear that you guys like it. Kendall's also saying, I love the pink and the red one. See, that's what we're looking for. Oliver says he likes the new design. Penny also sees the Kraft singles. I think we somehow ruined the Starburst Rebrand. But they did at one point do just the word mark. So like 1997, it looks pretty good. And they kind of like returned to it. I also liked kind of the edginess and the flatness of the bottom of it, because they do tend to come in those like long tubes that are like square rectangles. But overall, I'm not upset about it. Craft cheese with your starburst. The one other one that I wanted to highlight here from Brand New, this is coming from Armin over at Brand New, is an update to SlideShare. I think this is a long overdue update to a company that is very prominent in the business sector. This one has, rather than these two people holding each other by the arms being really excited about their PowerPoint, is now this kind of new almost like camera view icon for SlideShare. I don't think they necessarily need to have the thinner and thicker typeface here to have slide and share. So just having it as SlideShare, I can read it as SlideShare. Maybe if English is not my first language, maybe I won't understand that it's SlideShare, which is always something to kind of also consider. Maybe since there's no capitals. But I think it's a strong rebrand. I think it's simple. I think it's an ownable shape. I don't really see a lot of other ones. I mean, I guess it kind of looks like a Shutterstock logo a little bit, but I think it's simple enough. And also it's like, okay, what if SlideShare doesn't have the best instantly recognizable thing? You know what I mean? Bree, going back to Starburst real quick, says that it looks like a Post-it note, which is really funny. Now, Evan is saying the SlideShare update is definitely a big improvement. Haha says hi. Hey, haha, good to see you. Reverb Mike says it's so 2016, which I think, yeah, they're referring to the original one. The update, I think, is nice to have. The rebrand. Kendall says, I like this rebrand. The OG gives a jump rope. Oh, it does give jump rope. Yeah, it kind of looks like they're together and they're doing double dutch together. Haha, I went from hi to hello. Good to see you. What do you think about the rebrand? Haha. Or if you're just going to laugh at it because your name is haha. And then I just wanted to do one last call out real quick for the Brand New conference. The in-person registration is closing on October 10th, with remote access registration closing on October 24th. They do really good coverage. It's going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you have the ability to get out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they are really good at being able to have all conversations about rebrands and brand languages and updates. But let's make this all more about you guys, and let's get into resources. I have been starting to film myself for both marketing the File New show and also talking about being able to highlight like different things in Photoshop, as like Adobe is asking to also like present different things and updates to programs. And it's hard. It's weird. It's talking to my phone. And I have these little stands and stuff, but it also always feels really silly. And younger generation might be able to do a little bit better. But Creative Boom, Tom May recently did an update, which is how to market yourself without feeling gross. It says self-promotion doesn't have to make you feel sleazy. Here's how to share your work with those who matter without ever feeling cringe about it. And while all of these aren't necessarily the most groundbreaking pieces of work or advice, it is something to just be able to kind of scroll through and learn a little bit about. It says to step out of the shadows, and it says it's a constant battle for me, according to Coulter Repri. I'm very much an under the radar, I let my work speak for itself type. With all the noise out there, I feel overwhelmed, and that puts me off even more. But I have to remind myself to step out of my comfort zone and add my 2P amongst all the noise. So yeah, it's just more to just do it, and then even if you mess it up, like, no big deal, it's fine. Like, it'll also be forgotten so quickly just because it has to, get past it, and everything moves so fast. Wade says, I need any tips. I'm always full cringe. And that's the thing. It's like, it's all about feeling cringe. But if you need to be honest is the next one. It says, if you need to be your true self, you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. Just do honesty, plain and simple. Your marketing should reflect how you talk to your friends about what you love about your job. When freelance designers do all business spiel, it's not just cringe, but feels disingenuous and does your brand a disservice. Yeah. So I always try to kind of beat the tone of how I talk when I'm like talking to the camera, and then I try to think of like talking to Aaron or trying to talk to friends or talking to Wade, and like just trying to talk in the same way that I talk on live stream, because when I talk to the live stream, it's easier because I am seeing comments from you guys and I can then kind of respond to them, and it feels more like a conversation. Whereas when I'm like just looking at the phone, I'm like, oh, these are some great tips. And it just sounds disingenuous. Share what excites you. Don't share just, what you think you have to. Consistency beats intensity. This is the same thing. It's just kind of like putting yourself out there. Just build consistent, you easily forget everybody online if they don't show up for 2 days. So as long as you're consistent, like people will recognize you. Also, like people will, it'll get more natural just because you're doing it more frequently. Create your work self. You can always have a persona that you like hop into. Call yourself a different name. Make it fun. Don't be modest. The conclusion says marketing doesn't have to feel gross. If you focus on honesty, joy, and connection, self-promotion stops being cringe, and it just becomes part of being a creative. Gestalt Works says self-promotion simply means talking about your services with confidence, and it's uncomfortable at first, but with time, practice, and humility, you will come off as genuine. And so you can check out that full article. It's on Creative Boom. It's from Tom May, and just some well-needed advice for the rest of us that feel a little bit weird when we talk to a camera or a phone. Tracy is saying, don't do the millennial pause. I've been told by my students, yes, record and start talking immediately once you hit record. Don't take a breath after you hit record. It is recording once you press record. Kendall is saying it definitely is a skill. Make it fun is staring at Wade. But Wade has a really good fun show too, Roller Troll. It's on Mondays right after Maddie's stream. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, all right. Next up, we have a Instagram update. This is coming from Paula Baines, and it is a tasty 8-bit pixel preset in After Effects without having to mess with much. This is a very nice, proper update here. She's showing it with on and top. She has it as an adjustment layer, which is nice. All she does is she's going and as she adds it on top of the adjustment layer, you can see all of her settings. And then she can easily adjust it. It works with a grid, so you can adjust with how big the pixel is. It's also working with like Lumetri color. Oh, here comes Roscoe. It also is going to be able to work with posterizing your time. That way that it makes it easier for it to kind of feel more bit and not be like this smooth thing where there's weird edges to corners. There's noise also to make it feel like it's on some sort of a screen. There are a few things you can do, and also she has the preset that you're able to get, but you can go check it out. Her name is Paula Baines on Instagram. That's PaulaBaines. Paula Baines is the best. Really fun. It's linked into the Raindrop, so make sure you are figuring it out. Looks like our font of the week is continuing to be a little contentious, and the one in first actually right now is Brooklyn Heritage with 46% of the vote. So if you disagree with that, I can very quickly, before we hop onto this typographic update, I can show you what they look like one more time if you're joining us late. Looks like here, Black Pack, Alphabet Soup, or Brooklyn Heritage. They look like this. Make sure you vote. This is the first one, the one's in first place right now. So if you like these other two, make sure you vote as soon as you can. We only got about 10 minutes left. Tracy says, wow, what a theme song and everything. Yeah, it kind of just came naturally. I guess I'm a cheerleader now. So if you want me to be a cheerleader for your content, send me your content and I'll feature it on File New. I'll come up with a little song for you as well. This is coming from Pangram Foundry. It is how to create a typographic hierarchy, a practical guide for making your type do the talking. It is a little bit of a read. It's not something that we'll be able to go through all of, but I will do a quick scroll to show you guys from a high level what it looks like. So start with the text. Use intentionally with the idea of sizes between like on web going 40 to 60 to then bringing it down for a subhead to be as low as like 24 to 36 and then even further down for body and caption. With print, you want to approach a little bit differently than you are going to for your screen, whereas like you could still have a really big headline, but maybe that body copy can be even tinier because someone's holding it in their hand and getting really tiny. Talking about using size for contrast, weights, and styles. Pair different font weights to create emphasis. Italics are also great differentiation. Play with spacing, use color, but don't rely on it. That's also a big accessibility thing, is because not everyone can see all colors. And so it's important to also remember which colors are being used in your design. And hopefully it's not, especially with scale of distribution, making sure that you have accessible stuff. Limit your font choices, repeat, 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 test the system, squint and zoom, and do everything else to just flip it, turn it upside down, make it look like anything besides type, so your brain can turn off the idea of type, or your brain could turn off the idea of what it already was, and then gives you a new look at it. Because when you walk over to a friend's piece of work, you can see the errors immediately. But when you, for whatever reason, create the work, sometimes it's really hard to see what is different about it. So, I don't know. Find ways, look in a mirror. It can be a bunch of different stuff. Oliver says the wrong font is currently winning, and Jacob says, unfortunately, that's most of the streams. Ooh, it's getting testy in here. Winter Powell says, "Go team, go!" I'm looking forward to hearing your song up next. Then we have Grunge Text. This is another update from Topia Supply. I keep featuring them, and this one's actually for Photoshop rather than for Illustrator. The last few ones we've been in the appearance tab for for Illustrator, and this one is instead for Photoshop. This is using a distressed grunge effect that you can do. You can bring in a grungy picture. In this case, they're using Unsplash because Unsplash is free. You can also, if you have an Adobe subscription, you have access to all of their free stock. You can just go to stock.adobe.com and click on the free tab. But you can take your own as well. But you change the format to a PSD file. Then you open up Photoshop and type your text out. You right-click that layer and convert to a smart object. Then from there, you go to Filter, Distort, Displace, and you apply the settings of horizontal scale, stretch to fit, repeat edge pixels, and you embed the file data in a smart object, because that's what we did when we were making it into a smart object. You then select the PSD texture you just saved to be able to say this is what we're working with, and then you're done. The text stays fully editable, and you can keep on tweaking the effects by clicking Displace on your Layers panel. That way you can keep typing and bringing it back, and it will continuously grunge it up and change up what it looks like. Big call out to Topia Supply for making it nice and editable, and just something that's like easily flexible to constantly be able to just continue working without making destructive edits. If you guys are trying anything out that looks like that, make sure you put it in the Discord. Would love to see anything that you do with this Topia Supply tutorial, and thanks to them for walking us through it. The last piece of resource that I have for you is 5 Habits of the Best Designers. This is coming from Scott Birkin in his newsletter, Why Design is Hard. These are things that he has accepted as a designer, and he wishes other people would. I suggest you read the whole thing, but as a very high-level look, he says it is important to have an open mind, be rooted in the real world, have pragmatic idealism, reframe hard problems, and have patience with ignorance. I think our egos get in our way way too often with being a designer or being a creative, especially with this first one with have open minds. That's one that really resonated with me. It says the popular design dogma about how things should be, it leads to waiting for everything to be perfect, which is kind of closed-mindedness, whereas an open mind does not wait and is curious. What am I missing? What can I learn? Where are my blind spots? Who has the perspective that can help me? What allies can I find that will help me? And who has solved this somewhere else? What am I missing? How do I need to grow? So be humble. You know, it's important to have confidence and important to know yourself, but also at the same time, like, you can be wrong. It's all right. I'm really excited about sharing this next thing in Spotlight. It's a really cute comic that I saw a few weeks ago, and I got permission to share it on screen. So time to do Spotlight. It's really beautiful. I really wanted to also maybe put it in resources, but I think it's better just as a spotlight. It's coming from Torpor Dust. It's TORPORDUST. Apparently he made it years ago and he was reposting it, but I saw it for the first time a few weeks ago. It says, David Lynch has this thing he says about creativity that likens having an idea to catching a fish. I think it's intended to advocate for mindfulness and meditation, but I think it works as a nice allegory for the whole creative process. Ideas are like fish, he says. If you want to catch little fish, you can stay in the shallows. But if you want the big fish, you've got to go deep. It's a good metaphor. The little fish are surface level. The ideas that first come to mind, they practically jump right in the boat. You'll never go hungry. But you might tire of the taste eventually. Lynch's preferred fare lurks below. The ideas you can't even see from the surface, unless the water, your mind, in the allegory, isn't serene. Even then, you only catch a glimpse of them. Murky outlines. They're like nothing you've seen before. Gigantic, soft bodies, all fronds and frills. I love the character design here. Impractical, unworkable, and alien. They're not real yet, of course. Down there, it's all hypothetical. It's not that they're better than the ones above. They're just more alluring. You get drawn to them. You often have to wait for a bite, sometimes for a while. Sometimes it feels like it isn't your decision to catch them, but their willingness to get caught. Eventually, opportunity strikes. From then on, it's just the hard work of reeling it in. I really struggle with this bit still. When an idea isn't quite out of the water yet, it requires a lot of confidence and decisiveness, not attributes I'm known for. Will the line break? Will I be too puny to haul it ashore? Will it shrivel and collapse in the open air? Will it burst, bereft of the pressures of its birthplace? Is it even still a fish at all? Or just a comical old boot, a tire, a shopping trolley? Fish are slippery too. They can get away from you. The key is to find something to grab onto. A story beat, a character, a color, whatever you can get purchase on, really. Then, after a certain point, all you can do is hold on and keep on paddling. And it's a beautiful picture of him being ripped out of the water by this really crazy fish. It's amazing when you see it for the first time out in the open air. This weird misshapen thing you've dragged up. Often it looks nothing like you would have imagined. It can be terrifying. And it's beautiful. And that's part one. So that's Torpo Dust. I really, really love it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's like really well illustrated. Has really good parts where it stops and goes. Just really good advice too. And remembering that like even the professionals out there get scared. Even the people that have been doing this forever get scared. And, you know, being in that uncomfortable zone is sometimes where you get the best work and the stuff that is really good. So definitely check it out. Torpor Dust. He has a bunch of really good stuff too, just on Instagram in general. And really cool, inspiring work. So I definitely suggest his work as well. Story time with Ryan, says Tracy, right? Clever says, really neat and nice. Thank you so much for him, to Joe Sparrow, for letting us share that. He is an artist and writer, and you can check out all of his work. We're getting to just about time. I do want to touch quickly on the Bop Spotter, which is on hyperlinks. This is what I teased on my Instagram. And we'll do that switch before we then declare a winner. This is from Riley Waltz, his Bop Spotter. It says, somewhere in the Mission District of San Francisco is a microphone pointed down at the street below. It's using Shazam constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And basically, as anyone goes by, there's someone blaring music outside of my apartment right now, actually. And if anything is playing, it will then log it and put it down with the date. You can get to it, and you can see the different types of music that the people of San Francisco are listening to, which is funny. And that is just under Bop Spotter. You can see that at 10:13 apparently Many Men played. Then we also had Sundriver, and it's just interesting to see all the different stuff. There's In the Club by 50 Cent. Very fun, very exciting stuff. Justin Bieber's Daisies was there. Bohemian Rhapsody, and just something for, you know, you can always play it and go off. You can also open it in Spotify, and it's just a fun little web project. But we're just about time, so let's declare our font of the week. This week, we had 28 votes, and of the 28 votes, 43% of the people voted for Brooklyn Heritage. So, thank you to Brooklyn Heritage. Thank you for everybody who voted. Black Pack and Alphabet Soup will unfortunately not be the winners here, Brooklyn Heritage gets the crown. I'll be sure to post it onto the Discord as well. Make sure you guys hop into the Discord so that you can have conversations while the stream is offline. I'm also posting things in there that sometimes I can't mention on stream because of copyright stuff. There's one with The Simpsons that I would love to show you guys that I'll put in here after the show. If you want to check out also any of the winners of Font of the Week, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drag Brooklyn Heritage into the Font of the Week winners. You can see here, these are all the previous winners that we've had in recent weeks. And it's a good way to be able to add it to your list of just things that you can kind of cycle through when you're designing a project. Thank you guys again for being here. We will be back again next week at the same time, same place. Up next, we're switching over to Twitch. So make sure you go over to twitch.tv/Adobe. Once again, we have a jam-packed week for you, filled with the schedule here. Up next is Design Sprint with Steven Overturf, and then Edit Like a Pro with CA and LA. That's all going to be on our Twitch. And then tomorrow we're live all day on YouTube, and then we also have some YouTube content on Friday as well. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to Tracy, Jacob, Bree, Wade. I'm probably going to get cut off on Behance, so I'm sorry. But if you want to see my last words, they'll be over on YouTube. But on Behance, thank you so much to Axel, Umacorn, Jacob, Oliver, you guys name it. And thank you for being so active in chat. It always really helps the show and keeps the sanctity of the show all up, because then I can point it and be like, look, people are watching, people are interacting. So it's important when you guys are specifically commenting on YouTube. So thank you for being here. But with that said, it is our time for us to go. Thank you guys for being here. And go check out Twitch, where we will be watching some more stuff. And I'll see you guys over there on the chat. And I'll see you guys in the Discord. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Yeah, that's it. Okay, goodbye.